The episode opens with Lynx making his way through a dark and foreboding forest. While recovering from the beating he received from Raster, he was invited to Rick's home and Orichalcum's guild headquarters. Worried about the loose cannons in his guild, Rick asks Lynx to be fully armored on his visit. An important piece of advice, because as soon as the unwitting visitor walks through the door, he and Rick are greeted by the cute and dangerously excitable genius mage, Alysseret Drakwell. Alysseret wants to play, and so she fires off an explosive spell which Rick quickly defends against. Rayonette tells Alysseret that the repairs to the damage she's caused will be taken from her food budget, causing the Little Terror to beg for forgiveness. It's as though someone said to Lynx, "Welcome to Orichalcum Fist. Baby go boom!" Lynx sets off on his own to explore the grounds and hopefully meet the remaining two members of Orichalcum Fist. He first encounters Mizette Eldwarf, the half-elf, half-dwarf master engineer and king of gooners. Soon enough, Mizette has Lynx testing out his new creation, a rocket launcher powered by magic. Next, Lynx finds the last, and perhaps the most powerful member of the guild, Broston Ashork, an orc whose physical power is only matched by his intelligence and kind nature. Thinking he's finally found a reasonable member, Lynx asks Broston for some training, and the orc happily agrees to it. Upon finding out where Lynx has gone, Rick is struck with terror as he knows the training Broston provides can literally reunite you with your ancestors. With all introductions complete, everyone shares a hearty meal and drinks later on that evening, during which we find out that the main goal of the Orichalcum Fist is to find and defeat the powerful and fearsome Kaiser Alsapiet by locating the Dragon Balls, 6 jewels that lead to his location. A few days later, back at the Adventurers Guild, Rick, Alysseret, and Broston accept a quest to defeat some monsters on the outskirts of town. Needing at least 4 participants, they recruit a spirited Ray Lucas, an F-rank adventurer with aspirations of becoming an S-rank hero someday. To the shock and awe of Ray, the monsters are effortlessly defeated. And as she ponders what occurred, she's even more determined to become stronger herself. The Orichalcum Fist has acquired the first jewel, and as they set their sights on their next destination, the scene ends with an old acquaintance ready for her own new adventure. Rick, Broston, and Rayonette roll into the bustling city of Heractopia, a place where neon banners, sweaty gym posters, and loud announcers scream about the upcoming Fist King tournament. As they ponder how to begin their search for the next jewel, they notice a cat lady named Militia uncomfortably being rizzed by a bald-headed pugilist named Gold. Never one to refuse a test of strength, Broston discreetly gives Gold some slaps to correct his behavior. Now Gold refers to Broston as his big bro, completely captivated by him. Militia is also captivated, but for other reasons. Amid the chaotic energy, they learn that the Yellow King stone, embedded in the champion's belt, is actually one of the 6 jewels they are after. The current champ, Kelvin Erwolf, is flaunted like a celebrity, and our trio quickly realizes that to nab the belt and the orb, they must prove themselves in a brutal elimination system. Before they can even think about the tournament proper, Rick, and Broston too, must earn their stripes by battling through local gym qualifiers. In Rick's very first match, he unexpectedly faces none other than his old rival, Angelica Diarmut. In an anticlimactic moment, the usually fierce knight dramatically throws in the towel, surrendering not out of defeat, but sheer terror at facing a middle-aged man who might just be a secret powerhouse. Rick, bemused and slightly apologetic, can't help but wonder if he's accidentally become too intimidating for his own good. In the next scene, Angelica confronts Rick, demanding to know why he's here of all places. Is he stalking her because he's secretly in love with her? Or does he have a vendetta against her because of her brother? Over a cordial meal, Rayonette and Rick explain their reasons for getting involved in the tournament. However, Angelica remains tight-lipped about her reasons. Now comes the ultimate qualification hurdle. Rick must defeat 40 opponents in 1 week before even getting a chance at the West League. Cue the beatdowns. First, he squares up against a cheating combatant who hides explosive crystals in his shoe. Unfortunately for this dingbat, the crystal does absolutely nothing to the very sturdy Rick, but instead smashes the cheater's own hand, and with a powerful blow that deliberately misses the target's face, the sheer shockwave puts Rick's opponent to sleep. In the final scenes, we see the current champion in training, as he eagerly looks forward to some tough competition. We also see Broston making his way to the other town to begin his own qualification matches. Who will become the new Fist King champion? Stay tuned for the next episode. The episode opens in the bustling arena of Heractopia, where the local qualifiers are in full swing. We see Angelica Diarmuid, the ever-formidable knight, finishing her 40th match with such effortless precision that it seems she's been training since she was in diapers. Her moves are a dazzling mix of grace and power, like a seasoned ballerina who swaps her tutu for a set of brass knuckles. Meanwhile, Rick is on a mission to prove that late blooming doesn't mean late to the party. Determined to complete 40 matches in record time, we watch a fast-paced Rick zip to the next location hundreds of miles away as Angelica watches with incredulity. Ensuring that she doesn't miss any of Rick's fights, Rionette offers to transport Angelica to the next arena. With grace and power, she carries the shocked knight as they leap over buildings. We get a montage of Rick blazing through his fights, as well as the now unconscious Angelica being transported from pillar to post. As Rick continues with his matches, Rionette and the now worn-out Angelica enjoy some tea and cakes at a restaurant. As they get to know each other, a waiter suddenly appears at their table, begging our two beautiful ladies for their assistance. Meanwhile, just when Rick thinks he's cruising toward qualification glory, he bumps into a tournament sponsor. This suave and somewhat suspicious character casually mentions how impressed he is with Rick's performance. On his way back to find Rionette and Angelica, Rick is shocked to find them dressed in bunny outfits. It seems the restaurant was in need of some beautiful ladies to help with the ongoing celebrations. The sight of Rionette leaves Rick speechless, and as the two stare at each other, it's obvious that there may be some love in the air. The scene shifts as we get a quick flashback about Kelvin Erwolf, the current Fist King champion. A street brawler when he was younger, a trainer saw his potential, and with the young Kelvin's eagerness to fight strong opponents and become stronger himself, he accepts the offer. Meanwhile, Rick nonchalantly mentions the tournament sponsor's name, and Angelica's face turns as dark as a power outage, as if a secret grudge is being reawakened. Angelica's thoughts leave her distracted, causing her to lose her next match. Later, Rick pesters Angelica until she divulges the truth to him. Her parents died when she was a child, leaving them in serious debt. The only way out was to agree to an arranged marriage with the tournament sponsor in exchange for him taking on the debt. Angelica seeks to win the tournament and use the prize money to free herself and family from this engagement. The episode ends with Rick and Angelica confronting the sponsor's unruly brother and tournament favorite in a bar. But just before things kick off, the sponsor appears, putting an end to any out-of-tournament fights. The episode kicks off with Angelica beginning her training by Rick. Unfortunately for her, she didn't expect the training to be so diabolical. By training day 5, Angelica has had enough of this boot camp for sadists. Clearly trying to make a break for it, she serenely sips tea in a cafe. Rick, ever the determined mentor, tracks her down in classic late bloomer style, delivering a pep talk that's equal parts motivational speech and sarcastic ribbing about not running away from your own potential. Maybe he should have said, "No one can escape death," instead. Not willing to let Angelica quit on her dreams, or her duty to slice through mediocrity, Rick summons Rionette for an emergency training session. With weapons banned in the upcoming tournament, they improvise by teaching Angelica to treat her own limbs like razor-sharp blades. Think Kung Fu meets kitchen knife. Her training takes over a month, and by Angelica's next match, she's a walking, talking, destructive force, effortlessly smashing through her next opponents. They've turned our prim and proper knight into a raging beast, and as Angelica reflects on her choices, Mizette and Aliceret crash the meeting. Their orb-hunting quest has ended in a bust, leaving them sheepish but strangely enough, still in good spirits. Soon enough, Broston makes his entrance, and the full team is here. The failed expedition serves as a reminder that even the best adventurers sometimes miss the mark, but they always return with a good story. The climax of the episode arrives as the Fist King tournament kicks off. Rick, Broston, and Kelvin breeze through their initial bouts with their signature mix of over-the-top moves and nonchalant power. The atmosphere is electric, with flashy announcers, roaring crowds, and a gym that looks more like an arena for gladiators than a training facility. Meanwhile, all eyes turn to Angelica, who, armed with her newly honed blade techniques, steps into the ring to face off against Geith, the brother of one of the tournament sponsors, who she's betrothed to. Her match promises a blend of intense combat and a test of her newly discovered strength and resolve.